Cool. Well, welcome you guys to this call on actualization. This call, Brazil, we've got a lot of countries here. So this call was created out of the desire to have more of this conversation, really. But I have this live class that I do now called Actualization. And I did the first one in Mexico about last month. And since then, clearly things have exploded. So I have classes all over the world now for the rest of them, booked through to 2019, which is amazing. And so there was a lot of questions coming up from hosts and other people about what is actualization. And when you are something in the world, you don't realize that it's different until somebody points out that it might be different. And so I started having to look into my world about what this is for me, how this works really, and what's required from us to be able to actualize what we'd like to actualize in the world. So I got a couple of questions sent in. I didn't ask for questions, which was kind of silly. So I would like you guys to be looking at what your questions are, because I would love to use them. But the two questions that I got sent in were, how do I actualize things with the speed of space? And the second question was, I'm really, really good at actualizing money for other people. How do I actualize for myself? So I find this a common thing with humanoids is I'm really great at showing up for other people. I'm really great at like working for other people, working with other people, and actualizing their stuff with a lot of ease. When it comes to my stuff in my life, nothing, right? Like money's not doing what I want. Relationships are just, I'm still living in the same old dingy apartment that and so it sounds like you. Yeah, it's a common humanoid thing, just so you guys know. And so the first thing that I would say about anything is that when you come from the point of view that something is a problem, then you are already coming from a place where you can't change it. And the biggest gift you can give yourself is to function from interesting point of view. Now, I say that like it's easy. And it is just a choice. But to have anything different in your life, there's a number of things just required of you. And one of them is getting clear on what you'd like to have as your life. And I find for me that is an ongoing, ever evolving conversation with myself. And one of the things that I created, I actually borrowed it and am using it from Gary Douglas out of Right Riches for You, is a clearing that I talk about a lot. And it's from Right Riches for You. And it goes, what would it take for me to be willing to live the energy of what I would like my life to be so that it can show up for me in totality? And everything that doesn't allow it, and all the thoughts and feelings and emotions and no sex I'm using to absolutely refuse and reject my life and the energy I'd like my life to be, I destroy and I create it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, online, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Now, he tells everybody to do that 30 times a day for 30 days. And I found that clearing like 6 months ago, 5 years into my access consciousness journey. And I did it 30 times a day for 30 days. And that's why I'm such a huge proponent of it now, because what started to get really obvious to me was the energy that I'd like my life to be. Now, we talk a lot in Access about energy. Dane has all kinds of classes called the Energetic Synthesis of Being, and we have Symphony of Possibility classes, and we have the Maestro class, and all of those, you get to play with your energetic capacities. And we talk about being in question, and we talk about choice, and we talk about possibility, and how all of those change the energy of a thing. How when you ask a question and you clear out the energy that it brings up, it changes the energy, and that changes the limitation. And listen, guys, I've been talking about that shit for 5 years. I know it. But what I didn't get was that when I'm not being what I'd like my life to be like, it can't show up for me. When instead I'm being doubt, or I'm being worry, or I'm being need, or I'm being stress, I tug that stuff into my universe, because your point of view creates your reality. Thoughts and feelings and emotions create your reality just as strongly as being and knowing and perceiving and receiving. So for me, one of the biggest pieces of the process has been to get really just honest with myself. One, about what I'd like my life to be like, which has taken some work. I have to clear out away all the shit that I decided was mine, or I thought was mine, or isn't mine, and that clearing starts to work on all of that. But then also getting really clear on what I am actually creating. The thing is that we are always actualizing something. We're secretly succeeding at everything that we're doing, So you might be actualizing a lot of debt right now. You might be actualizing a lot of emotional shit right now. You might be actualizing difficulty with people. You might be actualizing, let's put that on the negative side just for fun. You might be actualizing a lot of possibility in some areas, but having difficulty in other areas. We're all using our creative capacity all the time. So how am I using it was the other thing I had to get honest with myself about. What am I using it for? And am I willing to look at the good and the bad and the ugly, just so I get a sense of what my capacity actually is? Because if I negate my creative capacity by the positive stuff in my life that I think is not there, then I'm negating myself entirely. If instead I look at everything that's showing up in my life and I recognize it as just a creation, then I'm a pretty creative motherfucker. I've just been creating a lot of shit. Right? And the coolest thing about the Access Consciousness tools is that interesting point of view. I have this point of view starts to take the charge off of anything negative or positive. It's all just interesting. So what are you actualizing that you're not acknowledging? And everything that doesn't allow you to be, know, perceive, and receive that, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Now, I was really only referring to even like the physical actualization of things. There's also energies and things that you're actualizing all the time. So what are you being in the world all the time? One of my favorite things about the How to Become Money workbook is that it addresses that instantly. It's like, how many times a day do you say to yourself, I want money? Nonstop, 24/7. Do you wake up I realized about 2 years ago that I woke up in the morning and my first thought was how little was in my bank account. My first thoughts waking up in the morning. And then I started to just pay attention to my thoughts throughout the day. And I was like, yeah, all my thoughts go to, I don't have money. I have no money. I want money. I can't have money. I need money. What am I going to create to do money? Like, for me, that was like a constant conversation in my own head. And the morning that I woke up and realized that money had to change today, I was like, well, what can I choose to actualize a different reality? Like, I didn't use the actualization word, but what can I choose to have something different? Because I was trying to grow a totally different financial reality. Like, I was an oak tree that I had planted in sand. And so the water kept draining away from the roots. And I kept expecting this oak tree to do oak tree things, but it was in sand. So it couldn't do oak tree things. So I had to actually take the oak tree and go, what do you require, oak tree? Financial future? You want to be in the How to Become Money workbook every 2 weeks? Plop in a big pile of hardy manure. And really nurture and grow and take care of it in a way that it required. My financial future required a different medium to be planted in. And I'd been trying to do it from here. So I took it and I plopped it in manure, and I started to do the How to Become Money workbook every 2 weeks. And what started to actualize and what started to get generated was a totally different financial platform from which to create a future. So you can't create a sustainable future financially from lack and from need and from worry and from stress, because you've already bought that you have a problem. Problem is, we don't have problems. Our biggest problem is we don't have problems. And we buy that we've got problems, and then we try to fix our non-problems. None of it exists. It's all made up. So, but what is true is, like, we are creating all the time. So if we look at, so once you have an awareness of what you're creating, so once I had an awareness that my financial reality was planted in sand, I could go, oh, well, that's clearly not working. Let's take that over here and make a different choice and plant it over here and give it some sunlight and some different water and see what it does. And 2 years later, I can tell you I have a completely other financial reality. But that was a different choice to actualize something different. And Gary talks about a lot, like we keep trying to do things differently instead of choose different. And that was always kind of a confusing, it seemed sort of semantic. It was like, well, I don't get it. But he kept bringing it up. So there was something there. And I was like, differently. And I'm like, oh, I keep trying today I'll just not have as much of a problem with money. And maybe that will do it. Or today I'll just, I'll go for a walk today and calm myself down. And, and then maybe tonight I won't worry or look in the bank account and be stressed, instead of going, what would I have to choose that's totally different to actualize a completely other reality? And every single time that I've done that, I've watched something different emerge. And so I'm in the process right now of completely changing the platform from which I create relationships. My demand for myself started about 4 months ago, where I was like, I just kept seeing I was in the same relationship over and over and over and over. And finally somebody almost hit me. And I was like, okay, well, that was intense enough for me to just look and choose something different. So I threw myself into Salon de Femme because I knew that the foundation from which I kept trying to build the same house. Like, that's the thing about a foundation. When you have a foundation for a house, you have to build the house on that same foundation. So if you never change the foundation, you're basically building the same house every single time. You tear it down, you build the same house. You tear it down, you build the same house, because the foundation never changes. But if you create it into a platform, and that particular house that you built isn't really doing the thing, you can just knock it down and build something completely different because you have a platform from which to create from, not a fixed foundation. So how many foundations are you using to eliminate possibilities that you could be choosing? And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and create all that. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, online, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And Letty, we will have Spanish translation after. We didn't coordinate it live this time. This is a big job. But if somebody who speaks Spanish can translate that, I can answer a question in Spanish if somebody can translate Spanish. I mean, I'll answer it in English, but cool. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to throw in the mix? You can unmute yourself. Oh, cool. Letty, you can.
Is there a place we can find the, I was trying to write, but I couldn't write it fast enough, for the clearing statement? And what was the name of that book in the clearing statement that you said changed everything for you on point of view?
So the clearing statement, you can go to the website, theclearingstatement.com. And I don't remember the first book I mentioned. Oh, How to Become Money is game changing.
No, it was before that. And it started with, what would it take for me to be willing?
Oh, that's a clearing. That's Right Riches for You.
Right Riches?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So what questions do you guys have about actualization? What's popping for you guys? Right Riches for You, Andrea. Thank you. Somebody feeling brave? We've got a lot of us on here.
Christel,
Yes.
What's the difference between creating, generating, and actualizing? Because these are things that are not in regular vocabulary.
Yeah, I know. So here's some fun information. So choice creates. Every time you make a choice, it energetically creates. So let's say you choose to go to an access class and you really choose it. I'm going. I don't care what it takes. I don't care what strings I have to pull. I'm going. So that choice creates the class. It now is your class. So now what's required is the institution and the actualization of that class. So there's there's the generative energy that you be, and right now I have an energy pull class that I'm doing every single day, 30, 60, 90 days of energy pulls, and that's generative energy. And so you're pulling up the energy of what you'd like your life to be like, of what it would take to have more class participants than you can handle, of what it would be like for your income to increase by a factor of 10. That's generating the energy of possibility. Because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in the world right now, the energy of possibility is not the first thing we become aware of in the morning necessarily. Most of us become aware of the stress and the worry and the anxiety, and all of those are the dominant energies on planet Earth right now. But so it requires those of us that are willing to generate the energy of possibility. So you generate that energy and you get the energy of what it would be like to have that class in your world, and you're like, that, I'm having that. So you're choosing it. That creates it. It's now yours. So now it's the institution and the actualization of it. And I think this is the part where a lot of us like lose the script. You know, we're like, I chose it. Now, why isn't it occurring? Right. But what would you have to be willing to do or be to institute and actualize it? If you were willing to be a pragmatist of consciousness instead of a wishing and a hoping the fairies will drop it in your lap, right? What would you have to be willing to do or be to have it show up in your world? Is there more there, Liga? I'm like done, end scene. That's all I got.
No, it's actually quite helpful because I wasn't sure, like you're reading in a book and everyone keeps using those words. What is what?
And I would say like a lot of us have used those words incorrectly. I actually have used creation incorrectly for a really long time. You know, if something wasn't showing up in my world, I would say, well, I have to create this still. I still have to create the money. That was something I would hear myself say a lot. And so it's not that you're wrong when you do that. It's that energetically you're not acknowledging what already is. And you're also not acknowledging that you're the source of something showing up. So there's also receiving in there, but all of it's just woven together. Like when you're willing to be the source of whatever is showing up in your life, and you're willing to recognize that you're the source of the shit, and you're the source of the great, and you're the source, then what occurs is like you've now empowered yourself to have anything you'd like to have as your life. And so now if it isn't shown up yet, and you now know you're the source, and you can just go, well, did I choose it? Yeah. Okay, cool. So it hasn't shown up yet. So is there anything that I can contribute to it showing up with ease? Can I talk to somebody? Is there a phone call I can make? And you start pinging, looking for what you can contribute to having this thing, knowing that it's already yours. And this is another thing that we talk about in the How to Become Money workbook, is that once you get that your power, your energy unlimited, and your awareness, which is the awareness of knowing that what you have and chosen is a done deal in its own time, in its own framework, and you have the control to monitor your thought processes, which is like, well, that's an interesting point of view, and well, that's doubt, that's a distractor implant. You know, you've got the control and the creativity, which is just you knowing where you're going just because you're going there. Then you are money. Like that, then you have everything that you like to have. Not even from desire, because desire is this place where we flow in emotional need to something that we've decided is important to us or is valuable to us, right? Like we really desire this. Like maybe if I desire hard enough, if I value it enough, it will show up. That's all judgment. No, it's if you choose it. Like if you'd like to have something different, you can have something different, but you got not put time into the equation, and just be willing to do or be whatever it takes for it to show up in the way that it shows up, and how it shows up, and when it can show up. What else?
So does it mean that institution is the part of actualization?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
So are you better at actualizing things than you've ever acknowledged?
Yes. No, I don't know.
Now, there is a difference between doing and institution. So a lot of us go into the do reality. I'm a very good doer. I'm actually probably a better doer than I've been a better doer than I've been a beer. So I've been really good at, you know, I was always praised and honored for my strong work ethic. My mom would just, I admire you so much. You have such a strong work ethic. And so I would use that. And even like probably the first 4 years of my access consciousness business was, I never understood people that just sat on the couch and were just, well, I'm just going to sit here and be. And I'm like, get to work, bitch. Get to work, bitch was my motto. I'm like, but that was how I was with me. I had no allowance in my own world for myself for not showing things up, because it was like, I'm going to have what I'm going to have, and I don't give a fuck. Like that was really my point of view. So My journey was really, I went about it in a very, I had to go around the other way. And Dane had to call me a cunt a few times in facilitations. He's like, you're being a cunt, right? And I didn't get it. I didn't understand. But what I didn't understand was that I was judging myself nonstop, 24/7, nonstop, 24/7. If I wasn't working hard, then, you know, what's the point of being alive? Like, you're a useless piece of debris, you know, get out. And that's where I function from with myself. So my journey was a journey of softening into the receiving and the honoring and the gratitude and kindness and vulnerability with me. And yours might be different. You know, everybody's got a really different space and place that they're coming from. You know, I talk to some people that are where being is much more natural, but getting to work is not necessarily the natural thing, right? Like the thing about actualizing things is that it does require work. But if you're playing at work, it doesn't feel like work. And so discovering where, you know, the play factor is for you is important, right? So everybody's going to have a different place from which they're coming with this topic. But all of us have these things, these itches. It's like, well, what's possible here? Like, what? I don't get why money's not working for me, or why are relationships so hard, or what would it take for, you know, all of us have these itches, and it's discovering, how do you use you? How do you use you? How do you be you? If you were being you, would this be easier? You know, what is that conversation? Mind blown.
I have another question.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier that if you have the same foundation of the house and you're going to continue building the same house.
Yeah.
So how do you destroy that foundation?
So your foundation is made of all your points of view, and you don't have to go in and destroy them all one by one. You just, my favorite way of discovering a point of view is starting to create my life. I will always discover the points of view that are limiting me the moment I start to create something greater. So do you have something in specific that you're looking at?
No, I mean, just I agree with the point, and I think it's interesting. I'm just struggling to say, okay, so I have the foundations, and whenever, if I try to change something or get something, I may not always get it, but I don't know what is it that has to be destroyed. How do I know what is okay to stay and what is not? And then
you'll know. Yeah, because when you try to go forward, so every time you're trying to go forward and you are trying to go forward, you have a point of view in place. That's a foundation that you have there. It's a point of view. And so every single one of those points, there's so many different tools that you can use. And how new to are you new to Access Consciousness, or have you taken a bunch of classes?
No, I am new.
You're new. Okay, cool. So I would recommend reading Being You, Changing the World. If you guys are new, grab Being You, Changing the World by Dr. Dane here after this call, because there's a lot of really, really foundational, platformal information in there that I think will give you a lot of tools beyond this tiny little moment that we have together. But every single point of view creates your reality. So when you can be an interesting point of view with every point of view, then it changes, molecularly changes. Because every point of view, what happens with a point of view that you have is it gets really solid. And that's why I use the foundation example. Energetically, a point of view has a lot of solidity to it. And so it feels real. And like, this is a silly little example, but I'm doing all these classes around the world. And I have, for the last 5 years, always had the point of view that booking venues was a lot of work and hard and expensive, and that I had to have a lot of money in place before I could have a lot of classes around the world, because they were going to need money. So it was this point of view sandwich, all of which was making creating classes around the world difficult. And so I had a come to Jesus moment in the shower. I was washing my hair, and I'm like, so what's working in my business and what's slow? And I was like, well, the venue thing is really slow. And so I just asked myself a question. I was like, so is there a point of view that you have that's making this slow? yes. What is it? And that's when I discovered the point of view sandwich. It's like this, leading to this, leading to this, leading to this. All of the points of view that were making this part of the process slow. So I know enough to know that a point of view can change. And so I just started playing with myself going, okay, well, do you want to keep the point of view? And I was like, yeah, maybe. Like if you change the point of view, would it be different? Yeah. Would it be easier? Yeah. Is it possible there's things possible that you haven't considered? Yeah. And all of a sudden, the energy of that thing just went, it just changed. And so since then, booking venues has been really easy, and we've been able to negotiate the deposits down to almost nothing.
Wow.
So I give that little example because it's just a tiny little thing, but that's the way it can work with a point of view about anything, including points of view about anything, relationships, money, jobs, etc. So because your point of view creates your reality and not the other way around, which is really what we're taught. We're kind of taught that our circumstances dictate that our circumstances created our points of view, like our experiences legitimized our points of view. But when you look at what came first, the experience or the point of view, it's always the point of view. And you may not have even known you bought it. Like most of our points of view we bought because we're so damn psychic. And I didn't get a handbook that told me I was psychic when I was a kid. So I just went around picking up everybody else's realities nonstop 24/7 and thinking they were mine. So we've created our life from all of these points of view that we bought as real and true. And we have all these experiences now in our life that now justify our points of view, but that doesn't change what's available now. The justification is interesting, but now we're like, well, yeah, but how do I create a life now? Okay, great. I've got all these stories, but now what? So for me,
And
it's
so
been getting, yeah, go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry about that.
No, please.
So would you like in thinking of like an exercise, because I'm like this hard worker and I'm just recovering from a hip replacement, so I got some time, and
Cool.
Like making a list of all the things that you want to create in your life, and then looking at if you're not living that, then you clearly have a point of view that's blocking that from being created in your life.
Yeah, and I
what
think
you're
it
saying?
might even be even simpler than that, Kim. Have you played in the awareness challenge yet, the core challenge?
I just joined a couple days ago.
Cool. So what I would
Okay.
say is do that challenge 30 times a day for 30 days. Seriously. Like do that before you make a list or anything, because I think that's going to reveal to you more than you have any idea right now. And what happens with that particular clearing of what would it take for me to be willing to live the energy of what I'd like my life to be is that the energy of what you'd like your life to be starts to show up. And as it shows up in your body, you start being it. And so this is the thing about anything showing up in your world is you cannot have anything that you're not being.
Right.
So if you'd like to have, for example, lots of money, well, we throw that around like it's a good idea. Because sure, fine, it's a good idea. It's a good idea to have lots of money. But all of us have all these different points of view about what lots of money means, what it means about us, how it can show up, how it can't show up. In reality, when we talk about lots of money, it's not an energy, it's a bundle of points of view. And so it's actually beginning to shave off all the unconsciousness around all of that. Because really that's just a bunch of unconsciousness that we don't even know we're being. So what we're doing is we're walking around as a bundle of unconsciousness and points of view. And that's what's actualizing in our world because that's what we're being. But we don't know how to change what we're being.
Right. Powerful. Thank you.
Powerful. So that clearing in just that one tool, Jesus, it's like I'm shocked I didn't find it till now. Begins to change what you're being.
So I'm guessing in the Facebook group, the challenge, is that in there, that clearing statement?
So I'm putting the link to the website in the chat. It's theawareness.challenge.com. You guys can all go there right now, and it's free to download. It gives you a PDF that you can print out if you're a PDF person. It also gives you a phone wallpaper with the clearing on it.
You're awesome.
She just put it in there too, but the last part's also really important. And So anyway, so I think that's I've found that to be a really great starting place. That does not have to be the place where you guys start, but that's been a really powerful tool for me. And then so then you start being something else, and you're like, oh, and what happened in my world, and it will be different for you, is I started to notice the things that matched that energy and the things that really didn't match that energy. And I was kind of like, oh, I have different choices here than I thought I had. And choice is what creates. You know, when one of the, I think, biggest the most disempowering things about The Secret, or the concept of manifestation, is that there's a truth with a lie attached. So can we be an energy that creates things? Fucking right, we do that all the time. Can you control how it shows up? No. You know, and a lot of our energy goes into the creation of a specific result instead of allowing the universe to surprise us with something greater than we could possibly imagine. So what would it take for me to be willing to live the energy I would like my life to be, so that it can show up for me? And then what can I choose to have it? And then, universe, show me something beautiful. Show me what it would be like to create a totally different financial future in a way I've never imagined. Because our minds can only imagine to the limit of our reference points. And reference points all come from the past, and all come from things you've seen with your eyes. They don't come from awareness. Everything that you are aware of goes beyond this reality. Awareness is beyond this reality. This reality is the limitation of what you are actually capable of creating. So what have you made so vital and valuable and real about this reality as the limitation of what you can create, that keeps you from choosing and creating beyond this reality with ease? And everything that doesn't allow that to show up, will you destroy and create all that? Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, online, shorts, boys and beyonds. Dear Raj, I've been using the question today in day 30. For some reason, the energy became contracted. Any insight? Yes, I have a new tool. It's called Who Does It Belong To? So what will happen as you're using the tools, all the tools, and for those of you guys that are new, Being You, Changing the World will be a book that really gives you a lot of what I'm going to put in air quotes are the basic tools. But you'll notice Dheeraj has been using the Access tools for a really long time. And the basic tools become the most advanced tools you've ever used the more classes you go to. The fact that you are aware doesn't become less relevant as you use Access consciousness tools. It becomes the most relevant conversation in Access. So, Dheeraj, I know you don't want to know that you're aware and you want to believe that you're pathetic. He's in a few classes with me. But you're not. You're just aware. All right. What would it take? Okay, that's the clearing. Awesome. Hey, you guys are amazing. So clearly you can also reach out to other people on this call that have done the challenge, and they can give you the clearing as well. Cool. Anybody else have a question?
Yes, please.
Hi.
Hi. This is Eva from Hungary speaking.
Hi, Eva.
Hi. And I have a question. You mentioned you have to be the energy of what you desire. And for example, I want to have a new car. And in my mind, I know there's a possibility to have it as a gift. But right after I start calculate how can I earn, how can I create, how can I invite the money for it. So my question is, what do I have to be willing to be? The energy of wealth, the energy of the having a new car, or what?
Okay. So does anybody on the call, Eva, can I use your question to talk to everybody?
Sure.
Okay. Does anybody in here recognize that they're a control freak of magnitude? Raise your hand if you know you're a control freak of magnitude. Okay. A second show of hands. How many of you use your control freak of magnitude to destroy yourself? Okay. How many of you have no idea yet? I just feel fucked up. Okay. So everything that is times a godzillion, can we destroy it and create it all?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, online, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So, Ava, is there anywhere you're trying to control this car into your world?
Yes.
Okay, sweetness. So I'm sure you're the only one.
It's too big. I mean, I believe I can create the small ones. For example, I asked 2 clients for this week and I got it, or I created it. And I believe it now. Okay, I can work it, I can create it. But the new, not the new, but the newer car, or the new, it seems too far, too big ask, which I have no idea how to let into my word, or you know what I mean.
Okay, so here's what I play with. I have to trick myself into more consciousness all the time, and I love controlling things. It's like one of my favorite things to do. I also love head tripping, which means, going around in my head trying to figure out how to get the desired result. I also am very intelligent, so I can make it complicated in 2.5 seconds. Just give me anything, I will overcomplicate it. So with all of those as capacities and what's right about me that I'm not getting, I now get to outcreate myself, because I can't actually figure my way into the life I think is the best life for me. First of all, it's a lot of fucking work, and I'm like, I tire myself out. And second of all, it isn't even when I've done that life hasn't been as great as I know is possible. So it's not really that interesting anymore. So then what I've started to look at is, okay, I've decided I want this car. What is it what are the energies of this car for me? What is it that this will add to my life energetically? So Ava, let's look at that for a second. So when you look at this car, what are some of the adjectives? What are some of the energies that you're aware of it will add to your life?
Comfortable.
Okay.
Dynamic. Spaceful. Strong. I can't find the words.
No, that's good. So are you guys getting the energy of that in a different way? So there's the comfortable, there's the space, there's the dynamic, there's a thrum in that, there's an energy to that. Now, Ava's decided that this particular car will be the answer to those energies. Because here's the thing about everything we add to our life. This is the thing about money, this is the thing about people, this is the thing about eating, this is the thing about walking outside, is that everything we choose because it adds energy. So it adds, when we eat something, it adds the energy of pleasure and orgasm sometimes, or sometimes it's just the energy of meh, or sometimes it's the energy, we eat food so that our body has energy, in theory. We add people, or we have sex because it adds these energies. Sex adds these energies of excitement and desire and enthusiasm and all these other pleasure, things. We spend time with certain people and don't spend time with certain people because not these energies, but these energies are really, really fun, right? We choose classes because the energy of all of it is energy.
I'm sorry, can I just ask now?
Yeah.
For me, the thought that just jumped into my mind, is it can be a bit dangerous. I mean, waiting for these feelings from outside and be addicted to these things, not from ourselves.
Is that a question, or is that a conclusion with a question mark attached? What have you already decided?
It would be too easy and too funny life. Yeah, to have everything like as if by magic. Yeah.
So it'd be too easy. I can't have a life that's too easy, too delicious, too amazing, because all kinds of reasons. Because I don't want to rise above.
Because of these reality shits. But I know
Sure.
I want, yes, but I know it's possible. For me, it works. Not this small one. Yeah.
So to go back
It's
to
like
the
a snake. It's just like a snake. It just comes to us when we want to expand out, isn't it?
what do you mean?
I mean, it's like a disturbing energy.
What is?
Like what I said, and you ask, is it a conclusion?
Okay.
Yeah.
Conclusions just kill everything, that's all.
Oh yes.
You think they're the answer, but instead they kill.
Mm.
So what have you decided is the answer that is killing every possibility? And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it all.
Yes, please.
Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, all the insurance, poison, beyond. So I love the rice experiment. I'm going to do my own rice experiment, and I'm going to time lapse it. I just have to buy another phone because this one's going to be the time lapse capsule. So the rice experiment: you cook some rice, you put it in 2 jars, you set them next to each other. You put, what I'm going to put is I'm going to put allowance and judgment on the rice. And I'm going to be allowance with this rice for 30 days. I'm going to be judgment with this rice for 30 days. I'm going to show you guys what it does. Judgment kills. That's all. It just kills. It rots things. So it doesn't matter what the conclusion is or what it feels like or if it's a snake or anything. Like, it's just like, well, it doesn't matter because going to conclusion kills. So when you've concluded that you've concluded I have to have this car and I have to have this car in a certain way. Are you creating the car or are you destroying the possibility for the car in your world?
Yes, the second one.
Right. So there's a different conversation required in here. It's not, what do I do to get this thing to show up? It's, what can I be that's different? What have I decided is so valuable about concluding and deciding and judging? And if I were willing to be something different and let go of the car even, so that I can be something different and actualize these energies in my world, what would be possible? And I'd love to have a car. What would that take? So I wonder what's possible for actualizing a car that I've never considered. All of a sudden, you're now receiving and contributing and being and perceiving and receiving from where everything can show up. From being and knowing and perceiving and receiving, everything's possible. From deciding and judging and computing and concluding, all you have available to you is contraction and death.
Oh yes.
I mean, sometimes death is fun. It's not wrong. It's just death. Death is a gift. Is that what you'd like to actualize? And if that isn't what you'd like to actualize, what would you have to be willing to be or do that's different? So we know how to decide and we know how to judge. That's familiar. We can even do that differently. Instead of but, I'm going to say however. That's a different kind of judgment. I would, however, I'm aware of that I'm sensing, blah, blah, blah. That's differently. Judgment differently. Different would be, oh, interesting point of view. I have this point of view. I wonder what it would take for this to show up in a totally different way that I've never imagined. That's a different universe. All of a sudden, with true interesting point of view, you're in a different universe. You're not even having the same conversation. So, Ava, so what would you have to be willing to be or do that's different? And everything that doesn't allow that to show up, would you destroy and uncreate all that?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, all the insurance, poison. So I just want to circle back around and go, this thing that I did with the energies, like looking at the energies that the car adds to your life. What I do with those is I go, how many different ways can these energies show up in my life? And and what would it take for transportation to be really, really easy? And if that's a car, great. And if that's something else, great. But universe, I'm ready. We want to limit the universe to the one thing we've decided will be the answer to the thing we've decided is the problem. The universe wants to lavish us with infinite possibilities. We're so mean. Bunch of bitches. Bunch of greedy, pernicious bitches. Made that up, pernicious. I think there's another word in there that I was really looking for. Mary, I think you know what it is. Penurious, I think is what I was looking for. Oh, that's funny. Cool. Is that helpful, Ava?
Thank you so much. Yes, it is.
You're welcome. Cool.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Anyone else have a question?
Hey, Christel.
Yeah.
It's Jen.
Hi, honey.
So I guess my question that I had yesterday that I didn't say about was kind of for today. Can you talk about the 8 things that you talked about Monday, about writing the 8 things that...
Oh, that you don't want,
Gary
the
had
8
said.
things that you do want? Yeah.
Yes, but what I need clarity on is because remember how I said, like, I don't want to do the lashes? So how do you not cut off everything, though, if you're writing down the 8 things that you don't want?
Well, so if everything is energy, so when you go to, so how do I talk about this?
Yeah, because I don't want to, you know how I...
Well, you want to do it right is the first thing we have to acknowledge. Yeah. So everything that is times a godzillion when you destroy and uncreate it all.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, all night, insurance, poison, beyond. So one of the first things you have to give up when you're playing this beyond this reality actualization game is the need to be right. Now, none of you will do it because I'm still not doing it all the way. That's not why you guys won't do it, but we don't like to give up the need to be right. So fun.
I think it's like, I feel like it's, I don't want to be wrong, you know?
Which is the flip side of I want to be right.
Right.
It's just another sneaky way of saying it.
Uh-huh.
It sounds better, more PC. So is there a right and is there a wrong?
No.
Okay. And I get that we all know this with our brains. Functioning from it is a very different thing. So I'm just going to acknowledge that. So we know in our brains there's no right and there's no wrong, and yet we still are trying to get it right. So let me tell you how to get it right. So, kidding.
Yes,
so the
please.
thing about writing, this will be your assignment, and if you fuck it up, you get an F at life. I just want you to know there's a trap door in the middle of some road somewhere that's going to swallow you for doing it wrong.
On the way to gymnastics. Good. Yes.
Yes. So the exercise is this, and what she's we were talking about when you're actualizing a person or you're actualizing a relationship in your life, one of the things Gary tells you to do is make a list of 8 things you'd like to have in a person and 8 things you really don't want to have. And if you're coming from like, I don't want that and I don't want that, which is the energy of resistance, you're going to create it. If you're recognizing that everything has an energy, so a guy that's a narcissist has an energy to him. A guy that's abusive has an energy to him. A guy that does a lot of drugs has an energy to him. Do those energies create more in your world? That's what you're looking at. So you're like, these energies really create in my world. These like kindness and nurturing and fun and awareness and possibility, those all do something really fun in my world. Pleasure does something really great in my world, right? These energies of self-interest and drugs and whatever else I said that now I have no words for. Those energies do something else in my world, and those are not actually what I'd like to have. So have these energies. These energies you can keep on the side. And so you get a sense of all of those energies, and then you ask for those, and you just, what would it take for me to be willing to be these? Like everything that doesn't allow these to show up, right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, online, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And universe, show me where I need to be, who I need to talk to, where I need to go in the city, what I need to wear. You tell me, and I'll pay attention. And then you just keep choosing and keep creating your life.
Christel, can you do that? I think when I heard it, what I was thinking was more like the perspective of, can you use this 8 things for like your business?
Sure.
Okay. Because that's kind of where I have a husband, so
You're good.
I'm good. I told him, I says, I'm not getting married and divorced again. This was the second time for me. I'll bury you in the backyard if it doesn't work out. But
if anybody's wondering where her husband is one day, just check the backyard.
One day, I know. We by the pool. Yeah, so I was thinking that, business aspect of it, because I think that's where I'm playing, and is like how to create it and not exclude anything, so I was kind of like, oh, well, how do I do that? That was kind of where I was thinking, the place I was coming from.
So business and not exclude anything. I need more information because you're sort of talking around it.
Okay, so like I was thinking like the eight things, if you use it from the different things that I do, because I'm a massage therapist, I'm an esthetician.
Oh, right, yeah.
I do the bars. I'm going to the body class this week, this coming weekend or the next weekend or whatever. And so, but then, like I said, like as an esthetician, I learned to do the lashes, but it's not a place I want to play in anymore. But then I realized when I kept saying, I don't want to do that anymore, people that were really difficult disappear, but then I started losing everything. So it's like, I don't want to, exclude, but how do you write the 8 things of what you do want and what you don't want without excluding? That was kind of, I was like,
it's interesting because I don't remember using the list with the business thing. What I did, I'm going to have to talk about this just different because I can't talk about it from where you're coming from. Okay. So, in my world, it's what would I have to be willing to do or be to have what I'd like to have? Like, what would I have to be willing to do or be to actualize the life I'm having? If that means I got to do lashes for a minute, fine. What else would I like to nurture and grow alongside of this that could overtake this at some point, right? I don't eliminate any possibility for creating money in my world if I require money. Fuck it. I'll do whatever. I've got gardens out here that I could go put overalls on and garden tomorrow. I'd take off my lipstick, put on some overalls and go fucking garden, take the nails off, right? If that's what's required to create what I'd like to have, then I'll do it. Alongside of that, and this is where, I've been nurturing and growing this Access Consciousness business for the last 3 years really actively. And knowing that my target, my choice for this business is stadiums full of people. I don't know when that's going to actualize. I don't know what that's going to take to actualize. And I could pop into popularity tomorrow and all of a sudden my classes are full, right? With some random video. Maybe. Could also take time. Does it matter? No. Am I willing to do or be whatever it takes to have that? Fucking right.
Okay.
And maybe tomorrow I need more cash that this business isn't yet providing, maybe. So what other possibilities are available? What else can I create and be and do to have the life I'd like to have? Because money's not a need. Everything that you need money for, you don't really need money for. You're just choosing to have it. So you could also drop every single thing that you ever have to pay for and go live on the street. And that's another choice you have available. You just happen to have the ability to do lashes. So instead of doing that, you could do some lashes.
Okay.
Are you going to die? No. Some people are going to look pretty. And at the same time, you could nurture your bars business. And I know you could use time as an excuse and kids and all that stuff. And it's all it is being willing to ask and go, well, how do I do this? Okay. All this stuff. All right. Well, how do I do this? What's required? Who can I add? What can I add? What could I choose?
Okay.
That's what actualizes anything. You're going into your head. What are you going into your head about?
No, I just was thinking how
she was thinking. She wasn't in her head. She was just thinking.
Yeah. I did allow the lashes back in, and I have acquired a couple new clients, and then I've had people be interested, and then I had another. I have a friend who does my lashes, and then we swap for bars. And I was thinking about how, since I've let that back in, she said that what I like to do with the bars business is to actually bring it to other massage therapists and spas and salons and start teaching.
Girl, how can you use your lashes as a door opener? What are you not considering?
I guess I'm not considering that.
But you have this easy way into every spa in the country, and you've eliminated it because you don't want to do them. Right. You could have a different conversation with every spa owner on the entire planet because you are an esthetician who does lashes. You have an easy in, and you've eliminated that as a possibility. And you could go, hey, I have this other thing that I'd really like to start introducing to spas everywhere. Do you mind if I try it on you?
Right.
You could use lashes as an entryway drug. Marijuana, baby.
Okay. Well, it kind of is like crack. That's the problem, is that what people get
That's
started.
why I don't get mine done, because if I got them done, I'd be addicted.
And yes, it is addictive. But okay, I didn't look at it that way. I just looked at it as when I was doing it, it was like, oh my God, like 10 appointments a day doing just that was so tedious. And I hated that. So yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Because I was using just massage to get into, because I'm dual license. Yeah, so I didn't
So
think
how much linearity do you go into with these things? A little bit or a megaton?
a megaton.
So everything that is for all of you guys, can we destroy and then create all that?
Yeah.
Right, wrong, give up, pop, on land, shorts, boys, bands. I only recognize it because I did it dynamically. I remember the day that I realized that I would only travel down like from this thought to this thought. And then somebody would say something and I'd be like, what? And so when I started to realize that I did that, like I was so linear, I could only go, and I trained myself to be this way. Like, and it was like just the way my brain automatically worked. So I started to recognize that that was the way my brain worked. And then, so with everything, everywhere I went to stress, overwhelm, can't, or thinking, I started to go, wait, are there other possibilities here that I'm not considering? I just started to ask one more question. And that one more question started to take off the whatever I had created around only being able to travel down this one linear path with my ideas. Are there other possibilities here I haven't considered? Are there other possibilities here I haven't considered? Is there another way to do this that I haven't considered? Literally add that one question in and you will start to change your life.
Okay, yeah, I think that's been the missing piece.
Cool.
Cool, thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you. You're bold with your questions. I love it. Thank you.
I love questions.
And just so you guys know, that boldness that you are, that's what's going to change your world. That's that not giving up, like going, even if you know it's a dumb question, like I did that so many times. I know this is not actually a question, but this is the only place I can start. Can you please help me? You know? Yeah, brilliant.
Well, I'm glad you can hear me today. I can't see you, but today, but I can hear you and you can hear me. So yeah, it's great. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Cool. Cool. We've got 3 more minutes. Anybody have a quickie? All right.
Yes, please, if I can. It's
go,
Eva again.
Hi,
I'm just driving and it takes time to find the button. Do you have any suggestion for those who are a bit lazy? I'm thinking of myself.
Get to work, bitch. That's my suggestion.
Yes, I just, I need always this I can't find the words.
I think you just found the words. Well, that was what that's your home plate. Get to work. Everything that brings up times a gazillion. Will you just try and create it all? Right, Rocket. That's my
a big quickie.
Is anybody here trying to shortcut getting to work? Nobody wants to admit it.
I create all in my head, and
I know.
Yeah.
So, what energy, space, and consciousness can you and your body be to be the lazy? I want to say lazy bitch, which sounds really rude.
Oh, thank you.
You truly be, and everything that doesn't allow that times a Godzillion, we destroy it and create it all. Right, wrong, give up, pop, on the insurance, boys, bands. And Ava, I'm going to end with this. For those of you guys that are new, some of this stuff, the Access Consciousness tools are very strange. But every single tool that we use, every single clearing that we do is to get you to, is to create with you and for you a space of allowance. And when things aren't showing up the way that you'd like them to, you've stuck yourself with some sort of lie. A judgment is always a lie. You know, and so Ava is being lazy while believing she's lazy, while resisting being lazy, while not actually being lazy and not truly being her. Because if Ava was truly being her, her life would be great. Because that's how things go. When you're being you, life is beautiful. But a lot of us have lost the script. Like, what is being me? We've been so aware of everybody else's realities and functioning from them for so long that we don't even know what that conversation is anymore. So that's, for me, has been the discovery. This process is the adventure of living now, going, well, what is me? What would I truly like to choose? What would I truly like to create? how much do I actually like to work? Like a lot. I really like to work. In fact, people ask me what my hobbies are, and I'm like, I work. What do you do? Do you paint? Weird. You know, you do what outside of, you have free time? You take weekends off? What does that even mean? You know? So anyway, so I forget where I was going with that. I lost the script, but for
it
anything
brought
not,
me it brought me many things, this question, and it's really the way how I'm functioning, and when I live the life the way it really works for me. So I like living hedonist way, and when I enjoy it and be it, my phone begins ringing and clients are showing up. So I'm, yes, in some people's reality and eyes, I can be like a cat, you know, you just sleeping and relaxing and enjoying and enjoy the sunshine and so on, and really that works for me.
I'd like to point out that cats aren't lazy.
Yeah, they just enjoy life.
They are just very subtle about it. They are demanding people. They are demanding as fuck, and they are not lazy. So, Ava, I'm gonna have you go back on mute and just wrap this up. But
Yes.
I'm so grateful for all of you guys that were here and not here and watching this in the future. We have live classes all around the world. We are going to have classes in all kinds of different languages. And so if you'd like to come to a live class and you'd like it in your language, just get in touch with me and I'll get you in touch with my people. And if you really enjoyed this, there's so much more in the Awareness Challenge group on Facebook. It's free. You can come join us, and there's tons of resources in there. My website has lots of resources, christeljoycrawford.com. And now you're on my email list. And if you don't like that, you can unsubscribe, but you will be looped into all the things. So thank you so much for this. We'll send you the recording. And what else is possible? What's next? See you guys later.
Thanks, Christel.
You're so
Thank
welcome.
you.
You're so welcome. Bye, bye, bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love you.
Bye-bye.
Love you, love you,
Thank
love you. Bye.